Oh, I love this place. Absolutely adore what we stand for. The kind of the challenge of kind of forcing it down everyone's throat about what England's about. Um, I just think the history, the heritage, the spirit. For such a small island, and we're tiny. You actually look at the world, England's tiny. But we punch quite hard for a small island, and we have that huge amount of spirit amongst us. At times we probably go over the top. We're a bit OTT in kind of spreading the word about this place, but I just think you look at the country and what it is, the towns, countryside, the diverse way that we all get on. It's a very special place to live. Yeah, it's massive. I mean, the picture that you get with the urn special, the actual thought process of winning the urn, I didn't think a huge amount about. It was just about, it's more Australia. And of course you get the urn by beating Australia, but it's more the fact that you're beating the Aussies. And just at the end of it, when you get to beat them, you get to pick up the smallest trophy in world sport, which is great. It's got history. That picture's going to be sent across the world. It'll be seen forever. I was the fortunate captain to pick it up. That picture will be seen for a long, long time, so that's great, but it wasn't ever in my thought process. The urn, it was about Australia, and that was the only sole focus in mine, was just beating the Aussies. I just felt in the night the English team didn't believe that they could win a full, at times there was 6 matches. I just didn't think they believed they could win one game, but they didn't believe they could win a second and then a third to win the Ashes. They won many one games. I remember them going 1-0 up on a couple of occasions, winning the game at Edgbaston, Mark Elam, Goffey. I just don't think they had that presence of belief to be able to look at them in the eye and say, right, over a 6 or 7 week period, we're going to go toe to toe for that length of time. And that's why the Ashes is such a tough series, because it does mentally drain you. It targets the mind as much as it targets the technique and the skill levels. It targets the mind because exposure, press, crowd, everything is 3-4 times more so than any other series. And it's almost the survival of the mentally toughest that can continue to look the opposition in the eye and say, right, we're going to keep coming over that period of time. And if you can do that, it's hard, you've got a chance. But I just felt England in the 90s could do it for a short period, but they didn't have the belief to go and do it for the 7 or 8 weeks required. Nas was intense. He had to have, for his own game, I always felt he needed confrontation. But I felt that in an Ashes series, you didn't need to go looking for confrontation. If you're playing India sometimes at home, Sri Lanka sometimes at home, those series that aren't quite of the exposure of an Ashes series and there's not as much pressure, you might need to go looking for a scrap to get yourself pumped up. I just felt in the Ashes series that I played with him as captain, he needed to not look for confrontation as much. And by being that way, you always felt a bit on edge as a player in the team. I liked his style. I did very well under him because I could look at him and kind of not even react to what he was being like. I could see through it. I was like, let's get on with it, you know what I mean? But I could understand why some other players were a little bit on eggshells, not too sure how he was going to be. But tactically, he got this. Still gets a load of shit, doesn't he, for that decision at Brisbane. Tactically, it was good. He drove the England team in a way, and kind of in a tough way. But I like to see, I would say the Australians, you've got to attack them. I don't think we had that mindset of being an aggressive team as much as we could have been. Triscothick was, Peterson right up there. But Triscothick, I think, would have broken all our records. You look at Alistair Cook, 11,000 test match runs. Triscothick's still playing. And if he hadn't gone through his illnesses, I'm convinced he'd have got 14,000 test runs. I'm convinced. And he'd have got 10,000 one-day runs. And he'd have got 7,000 T20 runs. Wow. He was that good a player. He had a little bit of a timid nature. He was such a nice bloke. And I felt the Aussies knew that. and he didn't necessarily react that well to the aggressive, sledging kind of psychology, particularly the Steve Waugh era. Steve would just create that massive cordon. Gillespie, McGrath, Bingley, Bickle, Kaspovic, it didn't matter who it was, massive cordon, dangle that carrot outside off stump, Trescothic, no feet, hands. And I just felt they got to him over a period. Even to a level in 05, we played a one-day game at Headingley. And the day before the one-day game, it was before the test series, Trez in front of the whole team stood up and went, I've got an issue against McGrath. And you can imagine a group of players laughing, going, get over it. And then I had to stop. I was a cab and said, no, this is good. I said, anyone that admits they've got a weakness can become a huge strength by support. I said, has anyone got anything for him? And 2 or 3 of the lads just went, you know what, just twat him, whack him, don't worry about it. Next day went and smacked Glenn McGrath everywhere. And he looked to the balcony, it's almost as if the whole support of the balcony was with him. Knowing that he'd now admitted, he'd kind of gone, I've got a problem here, a real issue facing these lot. And he openly exposed himself to the team. The team laughed for a second then and thought, yeah, we can help this. And then from then on in, going into the Ashes series, he didn't get 100, but on every occasion, barring one innings, I think, he went and set the tone. Ricky's, and I can't say it, he was like my hero. I always wanted to bat like Ricky Ponting. And in 2-2-2-3, I used to stand at mid-off. And I moved myself from mid-on to mid-off in Australia. And like extra cool, because he was so favoured on the onside, you know, he should kind of whack it through mid-on. So I could watch him more because I knew the ball wouldn't come to me. You know, his bat lift, the way that he dipped his head. You know, but I knew in 05 I had to be completely against him. I had to try and wind him up. You know, little things like taking the fielders off the pitch. We knew it was winding him up, so I was going to carry on. You know, the toss at Edgbaston, made the wrong call. We reminded him of it all series. Wound him up. Finally at Trent Bridge he explodes, pointing at the balcony. I'm on the pitch pissing myself laughing. But he's a hero. He's like one of my good pals. It's Ricky Ponting. I always say to him, a little boy, I keep going on YouTube, I say, copy that. Copy him. I said, forget these Virats and ABs and Joes. I said, copy him. Yeah. That's how you want to bat. He's full of shit. He's full of crap. I mean, I'm a pal of his, and I'd laugh facing him because I just know him. Just loves his pizzas, and yet he can just deliver a skill that's.
Can you hear a fizz?
Yeah. Yeah, if you're at the non-strikers, then I always used to say to the players, just make sure that you block out your left ear. You don't want to hear the fizz. I said, but most important thing about Shane Warne is you've got to play the ball. Do not play the name, and do not play the bullshit that comes out of his mouth. Because if you do, you're knackered, you've gone. You play that ball that's coming at you, it's like most leg spinners, very good at international standard, and you'll be able to play it. Where Warne was the best is what he produced around that ball, drama. He produced magic because of what he was saying, his body language, field settings, talk. That's why he was such a great. Now, the better now when you commentate. I mean, I went with Beefy. I think it might have been the last Ashes series. And I always remember it because we started drinking at the bar. And then the stewardess is looking at Beef. And they could see he was getting worse. He starts getting that nodding dog on. So the stewardesses go up to the pilot and tell him to put the seats on. Because Beefy was just gone. And then you see them both. They're not going to tell him to sit down. So the pilot had to keep putting there, please sit down. And then ding! So we'd all have to go, oh, thank God for that, I can sit down. Then as soon as the light went off, he's straight back by the bar, he grabs you by the neck, come on in. They kept on putting the seat on so he couldn't spend as much time at the bar. Strongest bonds, best mates. Hate each other when we're playing. You know, you don't really want to look at them, don't really want to do much with them, apart from nick their ideas over a beer at the end of a game. But you know, all my mates in cricket and close friends are Aussies. You know, I look at all the players that I played against and the overseas players that I played with at Yorkshire, they're all real good mates. You know, Buffer Lehman is like a proper pal. You know, texts a lot. Ricky Ponting, JL. Sorry, JL. You know, Hayden, Binga Lee, Dizzy. Real good mates. Gilly. Come on, I mean, I think the 05 teams, there's just a huge amount of respect for either side. I think because of the way that we played and just that, it was like a heavyweight boxing contest 5 times. You know, you just got ultimate respect for the opposition when you get through that. I think they try and con the opposition into thinking they're ultra positive all the time and they play this way. Yeah, they try to, but they've still got that gremlin in the back of the mind of a little bit of negative. And I think English cricketers are almost the opposite. You know, I don't think sometimes the English players realise how good they are. They don't have that ultimate belief. I think the Australians have more of a belief, but also you can tap into their negativity quickly if you're good. Whereas the English players are a little bit more subdued and a bit scared of being out there and outward kind of thinking, outward chatting. They don't really like to be seen as being brash. But I think we have quite an inner steel, particularly the last 10 years. I think an inner steel has been created in English cricket. I think it lacked it in the 90s. I think we've now got belief and energy that we can win the big series.